You're watching Minnesota Vikings Now, and it is backed and proven by all of the science, all of the data. 10 out of 10 doctors agree. If you subscribe to Minnesota Vikings Now, the Vikings are more likely to make a playoff push, make a run, and be a real Super Bowl contender. We're not that far away from 6,500. Hit that big red button for free Vikings videos right now. We've got some Vikings trade rumors, some pretty juicy ideas to get into, but also some news to get things going. A little teaser. We were going to do a different video yesterday, and then the Vikings filled the open roster spot with Benton Whitley, the former Holy Cross LA Ram linebacker. The coaches have raved about his work ethic in the past. 5.5 sacks, 11.5 TFLs, 49 tackles his final year at Holy Cross. Was also a research assistant for the smart people, who certainly I am not one of there. But let's welcome Benton Whitley to the Minnesota Vikings. Head down to the comment section, type in 51, and show some love to the newest member of the Vikings organization. Let's look now at some trade rumors around the Minnesota Vikings. We begin with what fans cited as pitch, a couple different names and whatnot here. We begin with Denzel Mims, and this has also been mentioned frequently by Bleacher Report of Denzel Mims of the Vikings. He has not been a productive player so far in his NFL career. There's a lot of things going on from that standpoint. He had recorded 490 yards in his first two seasons, and that's been about it. He hasn't been productive. The Jets allegedly, when they were shopping him before this year's NFL regular season, wanted a 4th/5th round pick, a conditional 4th and 5th rounder there. Unsurprisingly, everybody said, no, we're not going to do that. And it is interesting to see the Vikings continuously, speculatively, I should emphasize, linked to receivers. Justin Jefferson is that guy. He is, I hate the line, but it's accurate. He is him. But Adam Thielen has not been the same guy from that standpoint. 29 catches, 284 yards, 2 scores. Touchdowns still look great. I mean, he's still really good in the red zone, but the prime Adam Thielen, I wonder if we're going to have that guy beyond this year. And the contract-wise, it could be a guy you move on from after that. K.J. Osborn's been solid. You add Denzel Mims to the rotation, you get another good option there as a potential upside at wide receiver 3, who is probably better than Irv Smith Jr. Although, also, thank you for fumbling, right? All right, number 2, Chase Claypool. Very different body type, athletic ability. Mims is a great outside receiver. Claypool can do a little bit of both. Well, Mims was great at college, I should say there. He is not going the right direction for the Steelers. A lot of trade rumors around him already. George Pickens is emerging. They have Deontay Johnson. There are some pros and cons, though, to adding Chase Claypool. There are moments where he seems like more of a me guy and not a we guy. He's made some interesting public comments from that standpoint there. But he has real talent. He could be a number 2 long-term for you. You're also moving assets for what I don't consider is a true need because you still have Thielen. But adding Claypool, I think, is better than Jalen Reagor and K.J. Osborn, no disrespect intended there. It's more than just a 1-year rental. He's got 2 years, including this year, left on his deal. So it gives Minnesota some flexibility from that standpoint in terms of having a piece along the receiving core beyond just this upcoming year. So of these two options, if you want to trade for a receiver, and I will make you pick one, no coward's way out today, who would you rather trade for? Denzel Mims would be cheaper, by the way, from draft pick. You're talking maybe a 5th versus probably more like a 6th, realistically, versus maybe a 3rd or 4th for Claypool. Who would you rather have? DM for Denzel Mims, CC for Chase Claypool. Go to number 3. That is Noah Fant, the Seahawks tight end, who's been in and this was kind of a weird mention by fan side. They mentioned both of the Seahawks backup tight ends who, spoiler alert, we'll get to in a minute. Noah Fant is the next one up here, though. He has not been that productive of a receiver. He's been a little bit, if I may be so bold, of a disappointment for Seattle. As good as the rest of the supporting cast has been, 19 catches, 150 yards, 1 touchdown, which, by the way, and this is why I don't love this idea, is almost identical to what Irv Smith has done so far this year. There's also the added complication of Fant looking ahead long-term contract-wise. Fifth-year option was picked up next year, $6.85 million. With the injury history of Irv Smith, I do think tight end depth is a good idea to explore adding. He's had problems in the past. I don't love some of the other depth options. I think Fant, who was a part of that very much ill-conceived, based on the earlier results, Russell Wilson trade from Denver to Seattle, at least for Fant's side of it, I think tight end depth makes some sense. I don't know if Fant's the one to go get, though. Now, what do you think is the Vikings' biggest need right now overall on the roster? Could it be tight end? Could it be somewhere else? Let me know what you think it is in the comments section. Number 4, Will Dissly. I kind of accidentally teased it earlier from the Fansided article. Dissly also a member of this group, and interestingly enough, when he plays, he has played pretty well. There's also an injury history there. He was a blocking tight end almost exclusively in his time at Washington, the Huskies. He was a member of that college football team. And then he comes out his first year, and he's playing great. In 4 games, in 6 games, he has 23 catches, 262, 4 scores. His first year in 4 games, he had 8 catches, 156, and 2 scores. He missed so much time those first 2 years. He kind of got pushed down the depth chart, but he's on a pretty good path so far this year. And given his blocking abilities, and I think he'd be cheaper than Noah Fant, but maybe I'm wrong from that standpoint. I do think Dissly is a better fit as an upgrade button spamming over Johnny Munt, Ben Elfson, etc. I would have the most interest in Dissly because I think the Fant play style is kind of covered off by the Irv Smith play style. Dissly, I think, is a better blocker, and that's a bit more intriguing to me at this point. So pick a tight end of these 2 options. 87 for Noah Fant or 89 for Will Dissly. Pick a Seahawks trade target in the comments section. Number 5, and of all the names on this list, I love this idea the most. Jonathan Abram, the safety for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders are bad this year. They are absolutely tanking. He has yet to play a whole season. That's kind of been the reality from that standpoint. He's always banged up, always injured. But he does fit what I think the Vikings could use right now at safety, especially with Lewis Cine banged up. They do want to run some multiple safety looks. The depth is not great right there. Abram, from a play style standpoint, is kind of more of a linebacker. He's not good in coverage. He will hit. He will lay the lumber. If you're asking someone to shift in down the box, help stop the run, probably not someone you want help covering tight ends at all there. Abram is a good name to consider. Lewis Cine is banged up. You can keep Harrison Smith in that kind of fun role. I don't love Cam Bynum in the box either. So Abram as that inside kind of hybrid safety linebacker, I do think fits super well from that standpoint. I don't think he'd be expensive either. I think the cost of a Jonathan Abram trade would be maybe a 6th or 7th round pick. So if you want some safety depth there, although I am down to just play Brian Asamoah, I know producer Patrick is as well, and just give him more reps overall. Abram is a good name to consider. Former first-round pick, has had his issues in Vegas, but can play that kind of safety linebacker hybrid role. Has had some missed tackles. That's a pretty big red flag, but he's shown some promise, especially when you blitz him a little bit. So you got to be creative with Abram and don't put him on an island in coverage, but there is some upside there that I think is untapped. Now, if you have not already, I am once again asking you to subscribe here at Minnesota Vikings Now. Hit that big red button and sub. Free Vikings videos. The link is right there at the bottom of your screen, youtube.com/Vikings Day, but you're probably watching on YouTube, so just scroll down a little bit, hit that big red button right now.